What's up, guys, and welcome to the first bonus episode of Saints Row 4. We're doing the text adventures now, which hopefully will get us up to 100%. Simulation override. Is that... What is this? What is this? I will find out later. Text adventures. Okay, so we got 8. This could take a little while. Okay. Our story begins in the remote village of Zinshire, a hamlet just west of Zinport, and then all these Zins are going to mess me up, in the country of Zinland and on a planet known only as Zin. By nature, the Zin people are an uncultured and slow-witted lot, easily entertained by such diversions as arm wrestling and counting the spots on one's back. The people of Zinshire most especially fit this description, so I'm sure you can already foresee the struggles I endured in life. The first of those struggles were my parents. My father, a simple butcher, was a small man with a fierce temper. Of all the things I learned from my father, the one that sticks with me the most has to be proper way to butcher a Zin pig, a thirst for knowledge, a lust for power. My father, though as thick as the back hair on a newly born Zinfant, I like that one, did indeed have an unquenchable hunger for control. While he never managed to rise higher than the head of the simple village council, he nonetheless carried the dream. My mother, on the other hand, a gifted seamstress who married far below her station, wanted me to enjoy the things so many others could not. I remember clearly, on the eve of my 13th birthday, her taking me to... camp for rowdy children. Let's say gifted seamstress who married far below her station, wanted me to enjoy the things so many others could not. Traveling Zin Spear companies. I'm gonna assume it's this one. Please, as if traveling... Wait, traveling's... As if a traveling company of such renown would... Okay, I did it wrong. Alright, let's go party shop. Alright, yeah. One might think a place such as Zinshire would not support a fine bakery, and you would be right. I'm sorry I'm reading so slow. I'm trying not to mess up words, because I can read it really fast in my head, but when you're reading it out loud, it's like... Alright. It closed after a year, but it was not far... See, there you go. I tried reading it too fast. Not for lack on trying on another's part. Shut up. She wished for her only child to have an appreciation for the finer offerings of life, and she began my education with Zinkar's delectable pastries. Is this actually Zinyak? Or is this just some generic thing? Not only did I sample the goods at Zinkar's shop, but I spent a summer there sweeping the floor, tending the counter, and even learning a bit of the culinary arts. I took to baking with zeal. Clients enjoyed my baked goods, and I became known throughout Zinshire for my cream puffs, fresh fruit tarts, what is that, ganache? Drenched eclairs? Damn it. While my eclairs were amongst the best ever created, I was actually known for something else. Fresh fruit tarts. Damn it. Okay, so they're cream puffs. I can still feel the layers of crisp dough flaking gently on my tongue, awash in a smooth release of sumptuous cream. Even though Zinkar's endeavor was not long for this world, I continued to sell my renowned cream puffs door to door, a business which thrived. I must say, doing well enough to supplement my admission to the most prestigious private school in Zinland. But that, my friend, is another story. Alright, so we've done that. Oh, it is by Zinyak. Okay, the written word. I had acquired the money to attend the finest school in Zinland, but that was just the beginning. While I would love to say Zinkov Preparatory... God damn it. Academy embraced me with open arms. The truth of the matter is I was not the finest student. In order to gain admission, I had to endure rigorous physical and academic testing before they would grant me access to their legendary halls of learning. As is usual for admission to a school of such claim, the first of these tests was a scholastic aptitude exam, killing my own parents, trying out for a sport. I'm just gonna go for shits and giggles, killing my own parents. Nope. Okay. Trying out for a sport? Nope. Okay. A scholastic aptitude exam. I honestly thought that was the most obvious one, but I didn't want to click that because it was like, nah, this is Saints Row. But I guess these text adventures are something completely different. As was my mother's wish, Zinkov Prep was an institution that prided itself in its scholastic offerings. To that end, it only accepted candidates that displayed academic prowess and further promise. So it was that I endured many weeks of standardized testing and training prior to my entrance examination. I am proud to say that I took to the studies well and managed to bring up my scores across the board. Still, there was one subject above all others that I had a particular affinity for. As you may have already guessed, that subject was literature. Yes, of course, because he said so many, like, quotes from stuff. But anyways. The written word. I had, like most Zen, learned to read while in, what does it say, utero? Or utero? I don't know. But that was all very dry texts, such as manuals and design documents. It wasn't until this far more serious pursuit into academia, I guess, that I came to love the classics. How surprised was I that some of the finest literature in the universe came from a tiny watery planet more than 10 million light years away. While it would be some time until I visited that seemingly unremarkable way station, I had fallen in love with it. Artistic offerings are ready. One author's work in particular captured my imagination. Can you guess the scribe responsible? It's that girl, Jane Austen. Jane, sweet, sweet Jane. So she wrote books? How like my mother's dreams you are. Wait, what? Even now, all these years later, just the thought of Emma, Eleanor, and Elizabeth's exploits and romantic missteps brings a lump to my throat. Oh, the intoxicating back and forth between Miss Bennet and Mr. Darcy? Darcy, yeah. How I could read those lines toward infinity. It was my celebrated essay on Jane Austen's body of work that caught the attention of the Zinkov Admissions Board, who not only allowed me entry into their fine institution, but secured my later position as head of the English Language Appreciators Society. Thus was my love of literature cemented and access to Zinkov's Perpetuary Academy assured, which is where I met the teacher who would help me find my life's true purpose, though that is another tale. Is this okay? Preparatory? I don't know. I keep like reading it and I'm like, I think I'm doing it wrong. Whatever. Zinkov Prep. I clearly recall my first tentative steps. That's one of those words I've never known how to pronounce. See, like, this is just horrible. Like, I could read it in my head and know exactly what it means, but reading it out loud, I'm just like, derp. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of embarrassing, but whatever. Alright, steps into Zinkov Preparatory. I'm just gonna say Preparatory Academy. I was a lad from the countryside coming into the big city, eyes wide and mind eager. I had never seen a building so large or so many finely dressed young people yearning for knowledge. It was the first time in my life I ever felt I was somewhere I truly belonged. Of course, not all the Zinlings there were courteous, studious-minded folk. Predictably, it wasn't long before I crossed the path of a brutish young man named Zinfax. So they all have... How many... You would run out of Zin names so quick, I think. We instantly loathed each other. It was obvious from the start that Zinfax took umbrage with my coat of many colors, lower class upbringing, probably lower class upbringing. Typical, no. I was now entering the proud and prejudice-filled society I had read about so eagerly just a few months prior, while Zinfax was a bore and a constant thorn in my side. I found solace in my studies. Literature had engaged me early on, but the offerings of the Zinkov Prep allowed me to expand into even higher-minded subjects such as intergalactic warfare, warfare. For a second I thought it said warframe. Warfare and how to exploit diplomacy for personal gain. What a world of knowledge there was to explore. More than any of the Zinkov faculty, Professor Zinlo informed me... I'm getting tongue-tied now. Informed my later days. I remember clearly it was just 2 weeks into my first year when Zinlo pulled me aside and after class and said to me, Zinyak, you're a natural-born leader. Zinyak, these people are all your inferiors. Zinyak, never let anything or anyone stop you from pursuing your dreams. Has anyone ever told you that before? What a remarkable thing to say to a formative lad. And he was right. I, as the poor son of an ignorant butcher, had made it to the finest university on the planet. I wasn't just pursuing my dreams, I was living one. Those words kept me strong through the 4 years of demanding study, kept my mind clear from physical distraction, and are to thank for my graduating with honors from Zinkov Preparatory. First for anyone from the hamlet of Zinshire. I'm going to look that word up when I'm done. Upon receiving my diploma, I knew exactly what I must do. Enter the military service, kill Zinfax, into the military... Not before I settle some unfinished business, so... Alright, kill Zinfax and then enter military service. Order of operation, don't you know? Yes, I admit, I let my personal dislike for that heinous bully overcome me, and I snapped Zinfax's neck like an old bark flaking off of a dying oak. My time at Zinkov Preparatory... that word is... Preparatory? It's like, no, now at an end. I'm just going to say Zinkov University. Let's just say that. Now at an end, I entered yet another phase of my life. One that would take me to a great many exotic locations and allow me to realize finally my true potential. Thus ends my years as a plucky child. Next we meet, I shall regale you with the tale of Zinyak, the young man. Military, the early years. After my time at Zinkov University Academy, even though it doesn't make any sense, I'm sticking with it. Let's just say Zinkov Academy then. I did what all young people on Zin must do. I entered the military prior to my days at Zinkov. I admit I did not look forward to this rite of passage, but after I relished the idea of honoring myself into the specimen I would later become. Basic training was, as is designed to be, a particular sort of hell. I don't know what the rules are where you come from, reader, but military training for the Zin army consists of a grueling 8-week course that pushes recruits to their breaking point. Some did not survive the training and were sent off to work in the mines of the forest to join the Zin National Orchestra, famous across 7 galaxies for how hideous their music is. In order to endure the training, I often relied upon thoughts of my childhood, more innocent time, my iron will and drive to do whatever I must excel, manufactured hatred for the enemy. Let's do this one. I certainly possessed an iron will, but relied on it. Manufactured hatred for the enemy. A wise man once said, without a target, we are all just bullets in the wind. I wrote that in my journal last week, and it's true. Whenever you find yourself facing a seemingly insurmountable challenge, it helps to envision all the turncoats, opportunists, and... Whoa! That word! My mind saw it was like... and megalomaniacs? I've never heard that word. That are just waiting for you to fail so that they can swoop down and pick up the meat from your bones. With a furnace of pure hatred burning inside me, nothing would stop me from overtaking any challenge set before me. It was evident in the latter days of my training that I was going to excel at. I don't know why I paused. I thought there was a comma there. I was going to excel at commanding troops. Perhaps it's my eloquent speaking voice and a preternatural vocal, whatever. I've never heard that. It must be like a term for having a very expansive vocal range, but I have always had a gift for oration. Combined with my undeniable charisma, getting others to step with my own ambitions comes naturally. I speak, they listen, even if I do need to thrash them about the head a few times first. After basic, I entered service and was sent to the front line of the great war that was brewing on planet Bedard? Oh, this is a new planet. Okay. There I led the charge against the great Bedarian commander Franskot. Using my innately keen insight, I surprised Franskot by... this whole thing is just Matthew learns to read. This is horrible. Slaying second in command atop of Verdant hillside, sneaking into his base under the cover of darkness, bedding his fiancée before their wedding night, saying his second in command at Verdant hillside. No, well, yes, I did slay Franskot lieutenant atop a hillside, but that was later. Sneaking into his base under the cover of darkness? Okay. While it may sound like a simple tactic, you should be aware that the average day on planet Bedard lasts an excruciating long time. But I and my charge held our position until the perfect moment to strike. We've infiltrated Franskot compound, trampled his men under our mighty boots, and shattered the door to his bedchamber, wherein I pounced upon the fool and smothered him with his own pillow. Even now, looking back, I can't help but smile. From there, I led the charge after numerous enemies of the Zin Empire. Soon, the entire Bedarian army fell before us, and we had yet another notch on our already impressively carved belts. To be continued. Woo! Oh, I gotta take a quick break. Woo. Rise to power. A magnificent victory under my belt, my military superiors saw fit to bestow upon me a meritorious service and the glory of the almighty Zin commendation and my first of many promotions. First, not fist. First of many promotions. Recognition breeds contempt through, oh no, god damn it. I'm reading it too fast. Recognition breeds contempt, though, and I made many enemies throughout my military career, but perhaps none more scathing, more heartbreaking than Zinfob, the Brutus to my Caesar. Zinfob served me well against the Badarian army, but his pride got the best of him when he questioned my authority in front of the troops, questioned my character, questioned my readiness to command. Aha! Citing my unquenchable bloodlust, cold and calculating demeanor, lack of conscience, and all things that were held in such high regard during training, Zinfob dared to suggest that I was unfit for high-level command. I was brought before my superiors in a mock tribunal, held simply to satiate Zinfob's whim. I've never actually seen that word spelled, now that I think about it. Zinfob's whim. I assure you, where I was called upon to defend myself against these allegations. Complying with the tenets of the charade, I took my seat as defendant, as clear as the... I keep saying, as the strained cries of a fallen foe. The charges were leveled against me, against each one I... rallied against my accuser, explained myself in a clear, conscious manner, remained silent. Yeah, admittedly, I may have used some coarse language as emphasis to underline my points, but I conducted myself as one ought during any legal proceeding. After carefully explaining myself to the council, they saw my point of view and dismissed Zinfob's case against me. Afterwards, I hunted my accuser down and killed him where he stood. That nastiness behind me, I not only continued to fulfill my role within the Zen army, but I excelled at it. After many more successful terrestrial campaigns against our foes, the official saw fit to give me my own ship, promote me to emperor, erect statues of my honor. Give me my own ship. Indeed, no longer was I a simple passenger on our interplanetary death vessels. I now had my hand firm upon the rudder. Well, metaphorically speaking, of course. The interplanetary death vessels are steered by complicated navigation systems. Now a celebrated member of the Zen army, with a seasoned crew at my command, I blew up planet Zen and never looked back. Threw a gala in my own honor. Headed out toward adventure. Aha! It was time to leave terra firma behind me and venture towards the stars. After forcibly convincing my crew to celebrate my newly appointed position with a soiree? What is that word? In my honor, we lifted anchor and spread our sails, again metaphorically speaking, towards destinations just ripe for the picking. And that, dear reader, is where my tale gets most exciting. Alright, ad astra per aspera, I guess. Pretty sure there was some sort of accents in there that I missed. Like a siren calling ships to the rocks, the velvety expanse of space has been a harsh mistress to many. To me, the unconquered reaches were a challenge I not only accepted but yearned for. So many poor souls... many souls unaware of how mediocre their existence were without a firm hand to guide them towards greatness. Oh, how I long to be that hand. I am not a soul easily satisfied, so I knew my dream destination must be a planet that could challenge not the collective might of the Zen army, but my own fragile ego, my political acumen, or my tactical instinct. Yeah. The terrestrial victories I had accumulated in my prior campaigns often failed to adequately test my keen tactical instinct. The maneuvers and strategies employed by so many of my foes were woefully pedestrian on their best days. I knew somewhere in the celestial womb a leader must exist who could properly challenge me. How fortunate I was that I only had to eradicate 12 civilizations before coming toe-to-toe with the talented and well-trained forces of the Jet Yang theocracy. Despite what you may have heard about the people of the Jet Yang quadrant, I assure you they were ahead of the rest of their martial prowess. Perhaps most impressively, the Jet Yang had mastered biomechanical fighting machines, the art of diplomacy, planetary shield technology. Okay. By harnessing the geothermal energy of Jet Yang's molten core, the theocracy were able to power the Dyson sphere-like shield around their entire planet. It sparkled in the sun like a chorus line of stars, pirating in the cheeriest glimmer of light. The way it shattered in the wake of our neutronic lasers was simply breathtaking. Upon our arrival to the planet's surface, the head of the theocracy, an imposing figure named Bishop Quirkzug, pleaded for not only his own life, but the lives of his people. Always a fair man, I agreed to him on the level field of battle, mano a mano, as true gentlemen. I even let him select the contest. Much to my surprise, he chose a board game, a duel of swords. Arm wrestling? Haha! And I thought I had left such uncultured diversions back on Zen. I learned that this so-called sport had reached a far wider audience than I had hoped. Yes, Quirkzug chose to challenge me at arm wrestling. How, for a society so advanced in technology, thought I, could they be so taken with grasping hands and pushing? Little did I know that syphilis. Damn, man, this is... Oh, I got a Google search ripe with words I'm going to be looking up right after this. The anatomy of the jet yang combined with the curved surfaces that pass as tables allowed them great leverage at the sport. Oh ho! How clever Quirkzug was, luring me into a trap that played upon my own prejudices. Well done indeed. As it turns out, the winner of the match was... I'm going to say Quirkzug. Yes, Quirkzug used his anatomical advantages to best me at this infantile test of strength. After shooting him through his enormous eye, I congratulated his corpse on a good job well done. I read that wrong. On a job well done, sorry. Giving the Jet Yang people no quarter, we made hasty work of their pathetic planet, and to this day I keep Quirkzug's desiccated tongue in my pocket. I rub it for luck. What the hell are you talking about, bro? Though I wasn't aware of it prior, the Jet Yang's homeworld was a rich source of gemstones and minerals and rare reserve on other planets. With resources in high demand at our disposal, I was able to fund many more conquests throughout the richness of space. A fascinating story that I will tell you soon. The Great Zen Expansion. As you undebutably, or I don't know, are already aware, the Grand Jet Yang victory was just the beginning of my storied career in the Zen army. I still had numerous conquests awaiting for me, including my first venture out towards the place the native scholars once called Via Lactea, maybe? Possessing astute foresight as I do, coupled with my at times all-consuming need for control, I knew that before I set out to do anything more, I must find a second in command, acquire more ships, get some decent food on board. I think it's between these two. Acquire more ships. No. Alright. I wanted to click that one first, but I was like, well, the ships are kind of important too. Even I cannot be everywhere at once. I knew in order to keep my crew appropriately subordinate while still being able to have some essential me time, that I had to have someone I could trust implicitly to oversee the orders I gave. Someone who could be my eyes and ears and also tend to my every whim without question. It was a plucky young soldier named Zenjai. Hey, that's the guy from the end. Who stood cranial crown and shoulders above the rest. I knew he would make a fine lieutenant, but as customary to prove one's successor's worth, I first administer a scholastic aptitude test. Ritual beatings, a quiz to determine his understanding of basic etiquette. Scholastic aptitude test. Oh, callback, yes, quite humorous of you. Ritual beatings. Alright, a quiz to determine his understanding of basic etiquette. I was not about to appoint someone as my military surrogate and manservant who is unable to appreciate propriety and tradition. Is that even that right? Propriety, I'm sorry. Okay. I knew that if anyone were to even attempt to fill my proverbial boots, that they had to be able to do so in any conceivable situation. So it was I constructed by... What the fuck am I saying? My mind is like, I had to look away. Everything was starting to blur as my eyes focused on the screen. So it was I constructed a battery of examinations designed to test his etiquette across all manner of occasion. They really were brilliant, if I do say so myself. I am proud to state that Zenjai possessed every test in passed. God, jeez. In a spectacular fashion, though we did almost have an incident when we were attacked prior to the dinner course of a fine meal. Zenjai's brother died during an examination on proper cross-cultured greetings. A rabid Zen pig got loose upon the ship during a rousing debate on intergalactic politicking. Okay, yeah. We were attacked prior to the dinner course of a fine meal. It was a regrettable lapse in judgment at the part of a famed Benin tactician, Ariel the Furious, Is that Boone? I'm going to say Boone. The Boon Armada attacked us in mid-space during the most important segment of Zinjai's testing. After destroying the Boon fleet ship and flaying all the crew members, I beheaded Ariel the Furious with a bread knife and threw his remains into an onboard incinerator. Zinjai and I then went to enjoy the most lovely meal full of fresh Boon steaks and delightful conversation. His testing over, I formally named Zinjai as my lieutenant/servant, and we continued our trek into deep space per my grand plan. I set about culling the universe of its weakest cultures first, starting with those guys. Those guys or those guys? Let's go... No. Alright, the guys. The first guys. The guys have been a blight on Central Alspazia since the really? I was doing everyone a favor by raising those heathens to the ground, but did the Unified Nations of Central Alspazia, I don't know, show me any gratitude at all? Of course not. Monsters, they cried. Psychopath. Nothing short of planet-wide genocide was going to shut them up, which thankfully it did. From there, I continued on my path, conquering every planet that stood in my path. Yet, despite the sense of unparalleled accomplishment, I felt something was lacking. It was not until later that I would stumble upon my greatest achievement, my defining moment. My defining moment. Yes, I held the keys to the universe in my grasp, yet something was missing. These victories, numerous though they were, felt hollow. I felt myself wanting more, needing more. What could I possibly be missing? I had everything. Civilizations trembled when I announced my presence. My own army lived in fear of my wrath. What could I possibly be lacking? Then, like an evolutionary link crawling from the depths of a primordial soup, it hit me. I had taken so many lives. For what purpose? Conquering was not enough. I needed to test them, to challenge them, to collect them. It was then I decided to build a museum dedicated to the greatest cultures of the universe, a petting zoo, the simulation, let's say this top one. It's in its own ways, but okay. The petting zoo? No. Okay, the simulation. I could not trust those who fell before my might to roam around unsupervised in the real world, but with a virtual one. That was another matter entirely. It came to me as a vision, a vast interconnected web of simulated worlds designed not only to contain the best and brightest in the universe, but to break their wills and make them subservient to me, Zinyak, galactic overlord and head emperor supreme of the Zin Empire. Oh, did I forget to mention I killed my predecessor and claimed his throne for my own? My apologies for the oversight, alright? I tasked Zinjai with overseeing the simulation's construction. We would hold the physical bodies of my, as I said, alien, of my fallen foes in a nutrient-rich suspension designed to accommodate even the most peculiar metabolisms. Meanwhile, their minds would go on in a world of my own creation? That doesn't seem correct. Based on each subject's fondest childhood memory, deepest fear. Yes, everyone aside from your humble narrator is afraid of something. Besides Zinyak, of course. Familial loss, straying loved one, anonymity, anonymous spiders. Okay. And by subjecting each victim to their deepest fear to replay their most dreaded moment over and over again until their psyche shatters and their minds become malleable putty in my eager fingers. I could control them. I could control everyone. Once the simulation was completed, all I needed was to start hooking up victims, throw a party, find a test subject. And who better to test the simulation upon my right-hand man, Zinjai. I was not eager to participate in the simulation. There was a period there that I missed. But after a brief, though intensely painful discussion, he saw the benefits of the architect being the first to walk into his own building. For hours, I heard Zinjai's screams echo throughout the ship like oh my god, mellifluous song of a child in mourning. And I knew that the simulation was my raisin... Oh my goodness! I don't know foreign languages! Erase! It would set the standard for forward-thinking empires throughout the universe, and if any should ever match its brilliance, I will crush them and claim their design for my own. After extracting Zinjai from his personal nightmare, he gave his most wholehearted approval. When asked what his version of hell was, he said, "A life without me, a life with only me, a life spent cleaning the lavatories of a Zin mothership." To be honest, Zinjai didn't tell me what his deepest fear was, and I didn't press the matter, for I had other things to do. With the simulation as my crown jewel, I took the universal conquering with renewed zeal. I found a pleasure enforced subjugation of sentient life forms I never thought I'd have again. My enemies didn't simply fall by my sword, their wills were snapped like the bones of a mouthy subordinate. I no longer had only the echo of their dying words to remember them by. I had a whole world of twisted imagery and deep-rooted doubts and phobias. Oh joy! Oh cascading bliss! And I could visit them whenever I wanted. I had complete control. I held their brittle consciousness in my hand and could play with them like flicking seeds into the wind. The simulation was not perfect. Nothing is. Even the masterwork Venus de Milo is short a couple appendages, but it was mined, and it was beautiful. For those who tested my patience by attempting escape, I had protocols in place. When needed, I intervened personally, though it was rarely necessary. Many of the subjects thought they were exceptions to the simulation's rule, but I put every one of them summarily back into place. Okay. So, man, it's like, gotta take a breath, guys. Whew. So it was I went about collecting the exemplary specimens from cultures throughout the entirety of the known world, with one exception. A certain destination whose exploitation I wished to savor. A place whose artistic contributions had first set me upon my path. There was someone there I especially wished to meet, and with the time-bending capability of the mothership, I could. But also, I knew any planet capable of literary work of that caliber must also breed warriors unlike any other. I was excited, reader. Every part of my essence shivered with anticipation. With the might of the Zin Empire behind me, I set out towards a far corner of the universe, toward a new galaxy, to conquer a planet I had only enjoyed through its culture. Earth. Les Fin! We are done! Ah, God. Oh, hey. Hey. Okay. Let's see my disappointment, because it's gonna say... I could shave in this one. Shave? Save. Nope, still 99%. What the hell did I not do? Is it upgrade weapons, weapon upgrades, and all that stuff that then I have to get? Whatever. So that's the end of the what's it called, guys? The text adventures. So, man, all the colors on the screen look funny now. I've been staring at a blue screen for too long. So, yeah, guys, in the next episode, there'll be the audio logs. There won't be me talking at all. I'm just going to record them through, and that's about it. But until then, guys, I will see you later.